Radiant's turn to ban.
This patch really is just the narrower lanes, the different camp layouts, and different pull times just make it a lot more interesting for supports, I think.
Seconds. Radiant must choose. Seconds remain. Dire must choose.
Behold the Horn of Madness.
Wow. I mean, they pick it up early. I'm surprised because Beastmaster's left in the pool and SMG had first pick. They go for the Magnus instead. So we'll see if Motivate.Trust gets something like the Beastmaster here. It's left there. I don't think I've seen them play, but it has also been consistently banned. So we'll see if that's something that Motivate.Trust wants to try. With a Magnus in the pool, this could also be a really good Rubik game. Just steal some spells. Instead, they go with the Abaddon here and straight into the Lion. So they've got that strong combo of supports, one hard dispel, one saving support to play with, and one support with really good control. SMG though have the Jug Mag combo. So they've got the Empower to play with to buff up the Jug's early farming, can really help out with the Omni Slash as well. You could maybe bypass the Battle Fury, but most cores still go for it even with the Magnus. It's looking really strong for the openers. It's just a question of where does SMG run the Magnus? Is this the KP hero? Is this the Nea hero mid? Is it perhaps like a Mushi or Afu's hero on the support roles? It's somewhat open, but it's also a bit of a question mark there.
Seconds remain. 5 seconds remain. Radiant's turn to ban.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it a couple of times now from SMG. He plays it really well. Plays with the aggression on the Blade Fear early on in lane very nicely, as long as he has a really good lane partner kind of build off of that. So it's strong comfort picks for SMG with the Jug and the Mag, just making it simpler for the Jug. Really curious to see what else SMG builds on top of that. Again, I want to know if Nea is going to go for Ember. It looks like a really strong Ember game. I mean, you have to worry about Lion, and of course the hard dispel on the Abaddon, just saving anyone who's chained up. But you've got natural Empower with Ember. You get even more value with your Magnus pick. It might feel a bit greedy with Magnus on the off lane or on the support role though. But if you're looking for that strong Nea here, I think the Ember is much more preferable here over a Storm just because you have Magnus.
Dire's turn to ban. Dire's turn to pick. Radiant's turn to pick.
Bristleback!
10 seconds remain. 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think we've seen it do really well if it does get a really massive start. We've also seen it fall flat if the game drags on too late. Like, it can survive for a long time, but the team needs to be able to play around that survivability, and the opposing team can always just ignore the Bristle in this case. You've got natural Silver Edge carrier in the Magnus. We have seen Mag kind of opt for that down the line. SMG to take out the Undying, so they've got some pretty strong area control now. Maybe not area control, but area denial with the Undying. They've got the Tombstone drop, they've got Decay on top of RP. That could be really potent if you get a big RP on top. You can just drop them low super quick. And of course the sustain from Undying is very nice as well. So it's building up for SMG. Motivate Trust do go into the Storm for Fearless. 100%. 100%.
10 seconds remain. 5 seconds remain.
Yeah. What's... Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's still Bristleback, so 4 melees against Bristle actually sounds like a hell of a bad time. In that way, you could also take something here for Jackie to run to have that range advantage against those heroes. Now, I don't think the Ember locks you into that too badly though. Like, Sleight of Fist makes him kind of pseudo range, right? Like, it's a melee attack, but you phase out and you can cast it from a fair distance. So you do get some spacing out with that spell at the least for the Ember. Still think it's a really good game for it. I think they're just considering that, like, alright, are we going to be screwed by 4 heroes melee? No, Ember it is. I mean, it's Aeneas special, timings are good. It's just really good in this matchup. It's just superb with the Magnus as well.
It is Dire's ban. Ten seconds remain. Radiant's turn to Dire's ban. Radiant's turn to pick.
Oh yeah. Definitely that nice spicy meat coming through. Interesting bans from Motivate Trust. They do seem to expect this to be the KP offlane mag, so they're banning out the pause 4s here. Let's see how SMG closes out. There's still some of that flexibility to maybe run the Magnus as support, but it just feels too greedy. You probably just want that for KP. So the question is, what support do they take? They do go with a Rubik, so some pretty nice spells to steal, especially from the line. I think in this game, just target the line, take the Hex, take the Earth Spike, maybe even a Finger if you're fast enough. It gives you really good control on top of it, and Arcane Supremacy is always nice to have. But Motivate Trust go into the Muffling, so I guess that's one way to get a lot of that utility back your way as well. You can steal the Magnus form, get Skewer, get Empower, you can take Jug, spin around. It's really potent here. Even the Ember form is really nice, and you know, this is a Jackie special. There's nothing to naturally counter the Morphling here as well. No way of burning his mana down, no way of really silencing him down. That's one thing you lack here on SMG. Control is kind of missing. You only have Chains and Lift and RP. Otherwise, the Morphling is going to have a free time and just attribute shifting away. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it, you know, maybe a bit of a comb where, you know, just touch it up like that would look yeah, it definitely is too long. I guess it's time to give your barber that monthly visit. Still, speaking of predictions a while ago, Mike, this draft, I think it's going to be hard to call it, right? Like, Ember versus Storm, that tends to be Ember nowadays, but Fearless can kind of work that out. SMG has some really good farm timings to hit with mid 1 and KP. The question is, will they take too much time to farm up? Because we know what Magnus needs. He needs Blink, he needs Echo Saber for the most part. Maybe even the Shadow Blade down the line and a BKB. Farm KP is going to have to soak up before they maybe even commit that first RP if they don't find the opportunity. Whereas for Motivate.Trust, you're going to need some really good farm on Jackie and on Masaros as well, but there is some potential to play fast. You've got Lion, who once you hit 6, you're going to be looking for smoke opportunities. A Bristleback only really needs Hood of Defiance or Vanguard or both, and that is also a fair bit of farm, but it doesn't take too long for Bristle once you hit the levels up to feel tanky anyway. So there's some good back and forth in terms of timings, and we'll just have to see if SMG can just get that good farm rolling with her Mag, Jug, and Ember.
Absolutely. So I'll say it one final time before we officially have the game underway, but I apologize about the stream quality on Twitch. If you can't stream 1080, we do have the YouTube channel live right now as well. It is called Primal
Just
Raw
30 seconds now.
on YouTube, and if you look up the channel, you'll see a live stream with all the quality options. Apart from that, though, mid lane, John, mid 1 and Leona X staring each other down for a second. Eventually, a cheeky Undying comes in for some decay. Yeah, Mushi backs off.
And they've got some really good clump up potential here for SMG though. You don't want to force anything big with Mushi around, and MTTrust are spacing themselves nicely enough to not give that Undying some opportunities.
Yeah, this is not a smart fight for MTG. Q, he ran in for an Earth Spike. Gets a bit of harassment out, but that'll be about it. It does seem like it's going to be a 3-for-1 trade, however, in terms of bounties. SMG able to get 3 for their own, and Masaros was only able to grab 1 on the Bristle. A bit of a net worth advantage to get things started for the side of Team SMG.
And they also get the D ward here from Mushi. He clears out that bot camp at the least, so he gets some additional gold, taking away the potential for blocking the pulls here for SMG. So it should be easier to stabilize the lane for mid 1. He's on that Jug, up against the Bristle. Not the prettiest lane, but mid 1 already has his magic stick up, so you are going to be at least getting back some burst regen on hand. Once you hit level 2 with a healing ward, you're a lot safer, and even Mushi can do a lot of work here. Masaros on Bristle is a strength hero, so every single decay stack takes away the potency of their own presence in front in terms of trying to take some last hits, and this is not the easiest lane for the Bristleback to work out with.
Well, Q's doing the smart thing by pulling the creep wave away, but Mushi does an even smarter thing by pulling the large camp over to just kind of get the aggro on that creep wave. But now they're going to try and punish. The only problem being now all the creeps are on the large camp, so they're going to miss out just a little bit here. Masaros, he may be able to kind of double farm the large camp as well, but he did miss the small creep there. It is a bit hard at level 2 to secure the large camp like that. But, say, in the end, they still got quite a bit out of it, but I think you're happy if you're SMG as Mushi. He's going to keep taking damage from Q, but it's eventually going to be able to back off. And with that, John, we should have a look at the mid lane, where Nia and Fearless are going to be up against each other. It's like Fearless is trying to be as aggressive as possible early on. Nia, for now, not opting to go for any points in the chain yet, so he's just going to try and secure some CS.
Yeah, it's a stable farming lane for both sides. Playing slightly ahead for Fearless, so he's really working his right-click harassment with Overload a lot nicer. Of course, as the Ember, you can't really gap close well with stat Remnant spam up, so Nia's just going to have to watch that spacing out, and does not quite have the bottle yet. You do have it on Fearless, so the Water Rune for now for Nia isn't the full value. Fearless is just going to have a little bit more presence with his. Still holding even. I think the major spike to watch out for is level 5 to 6.
This is the very definition of first blood.
Mid 1, able to pick up the slot there on the Q. Looks like it was just a spin.
You're a loser.
Work out in the end. Mushi wasn't even around. He was going for a small camp pull at the time, so it was literally just a solo kill from mid 1. Meanwhile, top lane, Leona X and Jackie get a little bit aggressive here onto KP and Fu, but I think SMG should be just fine in the off lane as well. In fact, right now, KP's actually kind of out CSing Jackie on the Morphling, so they have made it a rather tough time for this Morphling this game already. I suppose as the levels do go up, Jackie should be able to secure CS a little bit safer, but KP on the mag is going to be able to get quite a bit of denies off. Nafu's going to be very annoying with the Fade Bolt.
Yeah, and there's a lot of strong combinations coming through for SMG. They've got lift into skewer threaten. They can kind of pressure in that way. They've got really good damage with KP. And for the side of MTG, oh, Leona.
Oh, they messed that one up.
Close enough, but
miscommunication there.
yeah. For the side of MTG, I think one thing they can do to counteract that lift into skewer that we saw try to be pulled off is the fact that, you know, with attribute shift and the heal coming out from Abaddon, you can just fully shift Agi and get back to full HP. So you're always going to have that option once Leona does level up the Mistcoil. For now, it is a tougher lane for Jackie. Just trying to sustain against that harassment is difficult. You're still finding equal farm, but you don't really want that. Like, the fact that KP's actually evening out that CS means that KP's timings into his boots, arcane boots, into his blink, into his echo saber is not going to be that long.
Oh, they got the last camp pull off here. Arfu allowed to get it off. I'm surprised Leona wasn't able to block that. That's a big loss there for MTG. It's going to be a big creep wave for KP underneath the T1 tower. They'll get the small camp anyway, but it's not going to be quite as effective. And Arfu's going to get another large camp pull off. Leona, he can't really intercept now because KP's there to protect it.
Yeah, and this is one thing with Abaddon support. Like, in some matchups and some lane partnerships, it can work really well. With a Morphling, it's highly defensive. Like, there's not much aggression you can do. It's very hard to contest these kinds of movements from a hero like the Rubik. So you're just forced to kind of allow them to sap away, and this is really good news for SMG. We said SMG had a greedier start in their lanes. They're working every single lane out quite nicely, and this just means that they're not going to face those issues mid-game where they might be just sitting back and farming. They're still going to meet some item spikes to help them have some presence around the map.
That was a really nice large camp pull from Leona now. This large camp proving to be very annoying for both teams. As it stands, still, how's mid lane going? Fearless top the CS board right now, 37 and 8. It's like Nia has not been able to really slow him down much on the Ember. Not quite yet anyway. I'm curious as well as to what Nia does go for in terms of itemization on that Ember. In fact, he's going to try for the chains now, but does not end up landing it on Fearless, and Masaros even TP'd in to give him a full bottle.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice move to just get that value onto Fearless, so he's not under as much pressure to contest the power runes at the 6-minute mark, and you already have the remnants out in Nia, so it can be a bit dicey for the Storm trying to close out. He does get lucky though. Regen for Fearless. He's going to be a very happy lad, usually not really able to harass too much out. You're also at the point here where Masaros is just clearing out some stacks. There are a lot of stacks in that triangle, so he's had a bit of a slower time down bot. It is a free lane for mid 1, but Masaros hasn't really died, and he still gets space to find some farm, so you're still going to need some item timings. You do worry about the Jug getting a bit too much here, as mid 1 is actually going for defusal, so I love this. We tend to see a lot of Jugs with Magnus still go battle free, but with a defusal up, mid 1's going to be able to fight that much earlier, and he doesn't need to really worry about battle fury time because KP will just empower him.
Yeah. We've seen this before as well, right? During TI, defusal gyrocopter,
Regeneration.
Defusal juggernaut. Just drain the mana off the bristle and you'll have a lot less issues going on. Even up against the Morph and the Storm, it can be quite frustrating as, well, now to attribute shift you do need mana. Arfu getting a jumped on here, Fearless, nice rotation in. Arfu, he can hope to rely on the Ancients, but no. He won't be able to get it. Leona X the one to take the kill. Fearless, he'll be able to just go back into the mid lane. He's still top of the CS board.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, he's just really working this aggression nicely. This is kind of what we expect to come out from Nea, but his own timings are feeling a bit off. The farm advantage you have here on Fearless is noticeable enough that he does have one small item up to play with. He's building into the Orchid. He's got the Rope of the Magi and the Sage's Mask, so a little bit more mana for those zips. And Nea doesn't even have a casual Wraith Band, still waiting for the Phase Boot, so our Ember is not really free to roam yet, which is not ideal here for SMG. I think if you look at the state of the game in the other lanes, KP hits 6, has Arcane and Soul Ring up. You might be able to maybe get a quick and easy rotation out on the Ember. Just force RP onto 1 and kind of try to build up true pickoffs.
Masaros, 55 HP, does get a nice stack off on the Ancient Camp. He's just got to be careful. Room handle waiting there. Hopefully Masaros does not forget about it. He won't. He knows. Still playing with fire though with that ancient stack, but I think he should be just fine.
Yeah.
Top lane, Leona. Wave does connect KP. He'd love a skewer back. He might just get one now with the lift, and there it is, Leona. There's no way out of that one.
For
now the group up from SMG up at this top side. They want to go for the tier 1 top tower, and when you've got Nia around and when you've got the RP up on KP, there's not too much to be afraid about.
You should be able to knock this tower real fast, and MTG are not in position to defend. That's the one thing you sacrifice with a bristleback. If Masaros just wants to sit back and farm his
damage empowers me.
it's not a very active hero until a Vanguard, until a Hood of Defiance is up. You see a bit of a rotation up top though. Looks like they might want to look for some punishment.
Yeah, I mean, Masaros can just stand here and defend for ages on this bristle. He's going to try and maybe harass him out a little bit on this this Ember, but no, he won't even bother. Probably just not worth his time. Masaros will continue to chase down KP. And meanwhile, mid lane, Fearless, he's going to be fine.
Radiant have
KP,
fortified their
he'll TP out as
structures
well.
against attack.
Masaros unable to get the kill, and
Radiant's bottom tower
everyone
is
just
in
kind
danger.
of TPing out. Now Mushi's being chased down by Leona. Meanwhile, mid lane, SMG,
There is little
they're going to get the
hope
push
for
down on the
Dire's
T1 mid tower and try to force the
Radiant's
rotations
bottom
in.
tower is under attack.
Q's gonna be there, spike
Yeah,
out,
I got
Fearless,
zigzag.
not gonna vortex yet, but there's your hex out. Omni was committed, but it's on the creep wave. Mid one does not kill anyone with it. Here comes Masaros on the bristle. It's like Mushi's gonna be targeted. They don't have the nasal good, but they'll go after the tombstone. Mushi, he does not have soul ripped in enough, so they will be able to take it down, but they'll get Leona X instead. They get the Abaddon kill. They do force everyone from Motivate to rotate into that mid lane. Now everyone just will disperse.
Yeah, it's a really good defense out from Motivate.Trust SMG. They were lacking a couple of tools to really take and force a big fight there. And KP had to blow his RP TPing out from top because when he was trying to skewer away, he actually caught Masaros. So he wanted to just bail out, needed to blow the RP. It is a fairly long cooldown to have to expend just for a TP, and that just meant Motivate could get the defense off. Now they're going to look for a shove in. They're the ones eyeing mid now.
Fearless. Zip in, he found Mushi, trying to get some D-Wards off. But looks like Mushi probably just going to forfeit his life away here to Fearless. He'll try to buy it a bit of time.
You had your
eventually
warning.
the Storm will be able to take the kill. And well, Fearless is very close now to the Orchid, which is going to be a pretty big cause of concern for SMG. Meanwhile, the group up mid.
I refuse you.
Defend that mid tier 1 tower. KP has no RP available. Masaros is literally just going to turn his back and let the siege creep do the work. And it's working quite nicely, but here comes mid one with the rest of the team. Masaros going to be targeted, skewer, going to be off the mark. Masaros is still falling quite low, but not low enough. He's going to be okay. Leona X will want to drop first. Now Nia keeps going for more. He wants to kill the Lion. He's going to try and run, but the Earth Spike is out from Arfu. Masaros, he's been purged up mid one. He's got the Diffusal Blade, and now the RP from
Radiant's
KP.
top tower is under
No
attack.
games here from the Magnus. In SMG, they're on to the mid tier 1 again. In fact, they're all TPing out. The mid one, he'll be the only one to commit the TP fully as Nia. He'll stick in the mid. Jackie's going to come back in on the Morphling.
Chained in searing heat.
Gets the chains out, Jackie. What can you do with this, Fearless? He's going to zip in, but the Remnant the other way now from Nia, and he's quite healthy. He should be just fine. MTG can't lock him down long enough. And once again, MTG are back into that T1 mid tower. I suppose without the RP up, they feel a lot safer, but Jackie's got to be careful. They still have a lot of damage output. There's your lift up. KP, he could not get the skewer off. Q. Spike is there on the Ember. And now SMG group up.
There is
These mid
little
T1
hope for
towers just not
Dire's
going to
middle
last very
tower.
long between these two
Dire's
teams,
middle tower
apparently.
is no more.
Yeah, they just constantly force the issue out. It's been really good for SMG though. They
Radiant
take a
should look to
62
their top
kill
tower.
lead. They start to invade the triangle and they can keep punishing Leona.
Leona's having a very tough time, still level 5. Just about to hit level 6, but he won't quite get there in time. And I've got to say, John, SMG, I mean, you talked about it during the pre-draft conversation. They weren't having a very good time throughout the qualifiers, but right now the lower division, they are undefeated. And at least during this game one, they are looking very strong.
They definitely are. They're playing around their timing real well. KP is not hesitating to just use RP as needed. Catches one, that's fine. Uses it to TP out safely, perfectly fine. Issue for M, Motivate Trust. Offlane Bristle just does not have teamfight presence outside of tanking up. Like for KP, he can set up with RP, he can threaten with Skewer, he can empower his Magnus. But for Masaros, all he does is soak damage and hopes to get some cold spray stacks up. There's really not much AoE control from Motivate Trust outside of a really good Earth Spike from Q. So there's a lot of pressure on the line here to set up in the 5v5s, and it's a lot harder for Lion to do that. Like we've seen the patience from Afu on his Rubik to steal out the Earth Spike, and that's enough to make it very hard for the Lion to fully commit without knowing where the Rubik is. So it's really hard for Motivate Trust to actually approach, and for SMG, they open up the map, they're going to look for more, they're grouping up top. Nea does have the Orb of Corrosion up along with phase boots, so he hits a lot harder. There's not even an empower up on him yet, but once you start playing with that combo, right click start hurting a lot more. Saving up for the quick Manta, and once you have the Manta, you're going to be protected from that Orchid, so they've got the counter items to the storm timings here, and they're just finding everything they'd want. There is a bit of a clump up from Motivate Trust in that Radiant jungle, getting some safe farm out for all their cores. It's a very limited spot for all 3 cores to farm in though, so it's not as efficient compared to SMG's movement across the map.
No, it certainly isn't, John.
Radiant's bottom
MTG, they're
tower
going to
is
try and
under
force
attack.
in this bottom tier 2 a little bit. Meanwhile, SMG still just kind of happy to bide their time and keep the farm up. How's mid one doing? He's very close to that Manta now, and Nia's going for the exact same thing. Just wanting to try and counter out the Orchid that is already there by Fearless. The Manta is going to be the item choice for both cores on SMG. Meanwhile, MTG, obviously for them, they are going to be heavily reliant on Jackie farming up the Morphling, but for now, you kind of want to see them make a play. Like, you've still got this Bristleback that you can abuse early on. But it's SMG that are the ones that are kind of initiating team fights here. In fact, they're going again, mid lane, Masaros, having his mana drained by mid one. Loses pretty much all of it. So there's about 200 left. Fu sticking around, Masaros gonna give him the nasal goo, but Nia, give him a sleight of fist back.
Dire's bottom tower is in danger. Dire structures are fortified.
You can already see as the game goes on, that diffusal blade from mid one is going to be a real nuisance for
Dire's
Masaros.
bottom tower is
Like, he has
under
the
attack.
soul ring and he has the wand, but at some point it is going to get rather frustrating just having no mana in the middle of a team fight.
Dire's bottom tower
Yeah,
is
it's
in
just
danger.
it's not ideal for the
Dire's bottom
Bristleback.
tower
And
has fallen.
I know you're saying that you can play around a Bristle right now. They really, I don't think they can. Like, the threat of team fight coming through from SMG sticking with 5 is just too strong. A Bristle can't overcome all of the spells being thrown out, can't overcome the decay stacks building up, can't stop the Soul Rip from just
Radiant's
healing
middle
everyone up
tower
as well.
is
There's just
under attack.
much more for SMG to play with on hand. Whereas for Motivate Trust, they need to keep farming. They need this E-Blade up on Jackie, they need a BKB up on Fearless, and even with a BKB, the threat of RP is still really big. So you take out the control from Chains and the lift, but KP, if he finds a good angle, can still lock in that Storm Surge.
Masaros, he's going to get pincered in here. He's in a pretty big awkward position. Shockwave, Masaros losing a lot of HP. Fearless going to go onto KP. Tombstone has been dropped on. KP's just fine. He might just turn here. Leona. Borrow time going to be popped. KP still looking for the storm. Not going to be able to find him, but they'll take the Abaddon. I'll tell you, John, SMG, they're making it look easy right now. Motivate Trust, they are still yet to find an answer.
Yeah, it's just they're not able to fight. They just need to stall out and farm. They pull out their core, so the only hero they've been losing is really Leona X, which is great. Just losing the Abaddon onto that Masaros.
They get dived under the tier 2 tower now. They need some help. Fearless gonna come in right onto Arfu with the silence out. We'll try to get rid of the Rubik, but he can't even get that. The heals are there. He does finally get him. But in the backside, the RP was committed. They've lost Q already. Onto Jackie now, who's trying to take down KP. He will be able to get him, but mid one gets Masaros. So a very even kind of team fight. Both pos 4s and offlaners going down. The MTG, they do defend that tier 2 mid tower. I suppose with the Ethereal Blade now up on Jackie, he can start to get involved in this Morphling. But it still feels like SMG are finding the better end of things.
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones forcing the issue. It's Motivate.Trust on the defensive. And in general, that's not where you want to be as a team. You want to be the ones forcing SMG in awkward spots. It gives you more opportunities to cut them off, more opportunities to see your enemy make some mistakes. And for the most part, MTG can't force that out from SMG just yet. They are kind of keeping this game even though, despite being at a massive kill deficit at nearly 20 minutes, and they're only about 2k behind. So they're keeping up in the farm. Jackie's getting a ton of farm out. Masaros and Fearless are pretty even in terms of build up, and it's really KP that's playing behind for SMG. He's even going full utility on the Magnus, going for the Glimmer Cape instead. They do go for the Roche here though. And this one is something Motivate.Trust absolutely can't give away. They need to spot it out, but they don't really have the best vision around it.
No, I mean, they're right around there, but they do not know this is happening. Even with KP walking out of the Roshan pit, they still don't see it because there's no wards on the right side. Maybe now they do, but it's going to be too late. This mid one can just finish off the Roshan, he'll take the Aegis. Of course, Motivate.Trust probably going to have to back out of this jungle now as Jackie is going to be spotted mid-1. Defuse him up. Instead, Leona going to be targeted, but Shockwave will not reach. But I suppose perhaps with that Aegis up, you get a bit more farm up, and then you can move into that mid-tier 2 tower. Motivate.Trust, they're going to be forced to respond to this. I just don't know how they're going to respond.
It really relies on a couple things. Master is living long enough for everyone to come in, and Q working his blink dagger. Like, he's got the blink in the line that's flying out. So there's some opportunities now for Motivate.Trust to actually find the back line and maybe take care of the Undying or the Rubik. Heck, even the Ember, if you can catch him out with the Hex, would be a really good pick-off to start fights with. And they just need to play around that. It's all down to Q and onto Fearless to follow up. A really good scan here from SMG does at least give a signal out to Nea. He's not going to be caught out here, and he can just kind of bait out with his Manta style.
Oh, they're going to fall for it. Spike is out, zip in. Oh, they'll realize it. They didn't really commit much. It's fine.
Top tower is under attack.
The top tier 2 though is not going to be so fine. Still Masaros. He's going to try and apply some pressure on the mid tier 2 tower, but he needs a creep wave.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Now SMG, they can go high ground. If Motivate.Trust do not back off, mid one can just keep going with the siege creep. He's gonna force the 2Ps back, it seems.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
There you go. There's one from Q, a second from Jackie. Can they kill the junk? Oh, we got a creep.
Oh, Q.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Bottom tower is under attack.
We've all done it. We have all done it. Fearless. He's gonna zip in, look for KP. He will find the vortex. They do at least get something for their trouble.
Yeah, that
Just a little bit unfortunate there on the Hex, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on the line. He's the one who really needs to start these fights for him. He didn't quite get it there, so SMG's going to be happy with that. It would have been pretty awkward anyway. Mid one has Aegis. KP was close enough that if they did fully commit, I think KP might have just ran in, RP'd, and tried to stall out ASAP for his jug, and could have ended the same way. He'd spin afterwards, and then the Magnus is the one to die. So maybe not too much loss there for Motivate.Trust and Team Reticles. Still opens up the map a bit more. They can start going a bit forward. There are some really good wards from SMG though, so they have seen all the movements out from Motivate.Trust. Need some D wards down. They do at least take the Cliff ward. This ramp ward still going to be standing as it is outside of that sentry range. There's still a little bit of information there for SMG. They're farming up really well. Mid one's almost at the point where Scotty's going to be up. Once you have that, the strength shifting on the Morphling's not going to feel amazing. The sustain coming out from the Abaddon's not going to feel amazing. With a Scotty on a jug, you're also very close now to having a blink on KP. I say that, but it just means he's queuing it up. You are getting these tools on hand, and SMG, with the vision they have, are looking for a smoke play.
I don't blame them. They understand how strong they are right now, and MTG still do not have an answer, it seems. Mid one, he'll get started on the bot tier 2. Masaros gonna be perched up again. They want to drain the mana straight away. Masaros, he's almost already out. Mushi with the tombstone gonna slow him down. Mid one still going, and now Masaros is completely out of mana, but he will have a soul ring to use. Q will go for a hex onto the junk. Earth Spike not gonna be on target. And Masaros, Jackie, oh, he's been RP. They've got the Morphling, but the Aphotic Shield is going to save the day. Being on mid one, he's dropping low. He'll go for a spin. Fearless, he's in now. Onto the backside, but he's been caught out. He'll zip away.
Radiant's middle tower is under
They
attack.
kept going. Spike is there. They've caught the junk. Mid one is somehow still alive, though. They did not take out the Aegis. He's finally going to go down to Masaros. Neon Mushi, both already dying, so now Motivate.Trust, they can definitely keep going. They are a little bit low on mana, but Masaros, he does not care. He's in. Mid one, going to be targeted. No, he'll go after Leona. Jackie will keep focusing the junk, but again, the creep wave's going to come in. Still Jackie taking a fair bit of damage, but mid one, he is surrounded and should eventually go down. But KP trying to help out. It's just not going to be enough. Mid one, still trying to run. Masaros getting lifted up. Mid one, he's going to be all right. Or is he? Q is trying to have a look. Instead, they're going to go after Arthur. A very prolonged kind of team fight. It's still going to lead to basically 3 kills on the side of SMG. Mid one, he lost the Aegis, but he does not lose his real life. And
Stupendous!
well, it looks like Motivate.Trust, they're starting to find their footing here in game number 1.
Yeah, I think it boiled down to one major factor there for SMG, where it went a bit wrong. Mid one, he managed to burn off all the mana of Masaros, but then he kept hitting the Bristleback. Like, once you take care of the Bristleback's mana, you have to look elsewhere. You need to burst the other heroes. The line has to go ASAP. This time around, Leona X lived through most of that fight, so he managed to get a lot of uses out of his Aphotic Shield and Mist Coil, which just pushed and Motivate.Trust right over the edge and surviving. So you need to be able to kill off the supports as the Jug or any core. Ignore the Bristle. Like, you get full value from the Diffusal once you burn down his mana, but after that, the damage output of mid one doesn't feel amazing. Like, with Manta and 2 parts of the Ultimate Orb, it's nice, even with Empower, but it still feels sort of lacking. The Crimson Guard on Masaros actually really saving Motivate.Trust as well, building up that durability against the physical damage. So I think just some target shifting in the middle of the fight is going to be necessary. Like, once you take her, like, leaving a Bristleback alive with no mana, it's not a problem. Like, he does nothing. He's a melee creep that just runs around wanting some attention. That's exactly what SMG would want, and hopefully that's something they kind of tweak in the next fight.
Yoda. Show up, Fearless.
Radiant's bottom
He'll be in that
tower
mid
is
lane
under
as well.
attack.
Mid one, gonna get started on the Abaddon. Q is there with the hex up. Into the Ethereal Blade. Jackie might blow him up. The Glimmer Cape is there. They cannot get him.
Radiant's bottom tower
The Jug is
is
gonna be
under
fine for now. Mid one is gonna be able to spin away. They don't have the damage output. And they did not have the protection either. Mushi, he will die. Earth Spike out from Arthur is gonna stop Masaros. Where was the dust?
I think it flew out. I think Fearless had it. He
Okay.
actually, I saw a dust fly, but it looked like they mistargeted afterwards. Maybe, again, target issues with the position of the camera, the angle there. They were hitting the Undying instead, and I think there was just miscommunication coming out from Motivate. They might have felt confident they had the kill, so they wanted to be efficient with that small window of control.
Radiant's bottom
Cost them in
tower
the
is
end.
under
Undying
attack.
is not the biggest kill for them. SMG, again, scraping by the tips of their fingers there,
The
and just
Dire
managing to stay
On the
in.
hunt
11 to
for
9.
Radiant.
1k
Dire's
lead now up for
tower is
MTG.
under attack.
They can start applying some
Radiant's
pressure on the
bottom
lanes. They've got
tower is
Lotus
no
Orb
more.
to save now on Masaros, so they can have even more
Dire's
frontline
middle
presence
tower is
on the
under
Morphling,
attack.
just putting that on him. Jackie saving up for his Scotty, so you're going to have a Scotty versus Scotty on these cores. We need to see mid one get something else up. Like, he needs some damage. He's going for the Abyssal next. I'd say a Butterfly might feel really nice here, just to have some damage output. If not, Chuck's a strange one, because MKB is alright on him.
Dire's middle
It also
tower
feels like
is
a
under
bit of a
attack.
weird slot if there's no evasion, so maybe a Maelstrom into Mjolnir would be really good for mid one, actually. Just going into more damage for the Omni, it just kind of lacks. He didn't manage to pop it there, though, so it wasn't a major issue in that fight. But Motivate.Trust, they smoke up again.
That they do. Hanging around that their side of the river.
over here.
Wanted to cross yet, Fearless. So for haste room bottled up. The owner going to avoid the stun out from our Fu. I think SMG, it's almost like the tables have turned and SMG are the ones that don't really want to fight. Do you have all the ultis up, so you might want to see a smoke soon from SMG.
Yeah, they're just waiting for that blink. KP just farms it up now, so it's flying in, and this is the moment where they need to smoke, get a good RP, even onto 2 heroes is going to be enough, and just force the issue out. Motivate.Trust, they can play without worrying about cooldowns. They do have a fresh BKB here on Fearless. It's down to 8 seconds, of course, but that's long enough for the Storm to still have that great presence out, so you'll have to watch that. It's got the Kaya up, saving up for the Sanj next to have that added strength, added status resist. But there's that smoke on SMG.
That's a massive target. The Storm is gone. Now the RP up, but it's only on Q. Still don't get the Lion. And make sure that he won't be able to get those disables out, as now MTG have no way to fight. Just need to run. Borrowed time, going to be popped out by Leona X, but the rod of Atos is going to fly in, and Leona X is gone. A triple kill out for Nia. And Roshan is up. I don't believe they've scouted it yet, but they should go have a look, and I'm sure Mid-1 will be very happy with what he sees.
Yeah, just very well played from SMG. Motivate.Trust, I mean, they're kind of spaced out, so the RP is never big. It also means that the saving graces you have with the Dispels on your Abaddon, with the Lotus Orb on Masteros, couldn't fly out to save Fearless. So very well played coming out from SMG. This time around, they're going to have Aegis, Cheese, and the Ag Shard. So we'll see who does get priority. It could be really good in mid-1, just to give that Blade Fury move speed and random damage, which is really strong. But you could also opt to maybe give it to KP as well. The one toss can kind of help you set up. It looks like they will just slide it through to mid-1, so faster movement in Blade Fury, then even harder to catch up with Jug. And get that spell off, and we've seen Motivate.Trust kind of struggle with that. Not going to get any easier here. 2k lead now up for SMG, and Motivate.Trust have to be careful. They know there's no RP, but they have to fight against Aegis Cheese.
Ross just kind of standing still, hoping nobody notices him in the invis rune.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Cape out, sentry down, they've got him, they've got the Magnus, but Fearless has been lifted up, he'll get the BKB off. There's your finger, KB, he's gone. Not just for through now. That'll be your Rubik dead as well. SMG, not willing to fight. Without the full squad, just want to run now, but Ethereal Blade, nice man to dodge out from mid-1. To avoid the Ethereal, MTG, they may have to just kind of give up on this chase. But they already got 2 nice targets, and with that they can force the mid-tier 2 tower.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It's a bit hard. I mean, SMG didn't have RP up anyway on KP. Respawns are fairly short, so you're not going to find much more here for Motivate.Trust, but they win a fight against Aegis Cheese. That's really big for the side of Motivate.Trust. They get to control that bot jungle a bit more, get their farm up and running. They already have a Scotty up on Jackie. They're just waiting for the Sanj on Fearless. Masteros now is pretty much unkillable with the itemization that came out from SMG, like the damage output from Nea and from mid-1. Amazing yet. They really need Empower on top of them in these fights to kind of get that damage flowing. Every single time KP dies without getting Empower on his cores, it feels lacking from SMG. So maybe a bit more caution due here from KP to just ensure he's around to get that damage up on SMG Sandaz. Without that Empower, they can't optimize for damage at all. So they really need the Magnus around to buff them up. And Masteros?
Skewer in, nice skewer there from KB. Masteros immediately targeted, but the Apodic Shield does fly in to try and help out. He's still alive, still tanking. Mid-1 still trying to get him down, but now the Ethereal's out. Jackie gonna keep him even more protected. They'll go on to Q instead. They want the Riot death first. Q, he will eventually drop Leona now. He's getting quite low himself as SMG is still moving in, but here comes Fearless from the backside onto KB, but it's not gonna be enough damage. There's way too much heals flying out, and Fearless here's been back, but he will go down.
Middle tower is under attack.
Great team fight from SMG. They just got everything they could have asked for. There's no firebacks from Motivate. So they're going high ground now. SMG should be 1 racks down.
Yeah, they've still got RP here as well on KP. They popped the BKB on Fearless and Sound, and RP.
Oh,
That's
got
beating
the
you
big
here.
one. Jackie has no robotic shield to protect him. They just burst it down.
Dyer's middle tower has fallen.
Great setup there by KP on the mag, and well, Jackie has buyback, but he does not want to commit it
Dyer's
like
middle
this.
barracks has
Nobody
fallen.
has no teammates alive.
Dyer's middle barracks has
And
fallen.
even when they are alive, John, I don't know if he really wants to commit it. He might just let 2 Raxes go down and
Dyer's top tower
try to
is
go from there instead.
Dyer's top barracks are under attack.
Oh,
It's
KP.
tough. Oh,
He's caught another Leona X
Dyer's
being
top
dragged
barracks
in
has fallen.
to the grasp of the SMG. Masaros coming back on. Leona, he will not have that privilege. In fact, mid one, trying to take the life of Masaros. Q can't help out because Nia is right on the backside. They've got another.
Is under attack.
Wow, SMG, just look at the coordination out, John. You see mid one going after Masaros, meanwhile Nia, he checks for Q, he makes sure the line can't break the gap and get the X off.
Is no more.
And now they're onto T4 towers. I think
Let's
Motivate,
get back
they're
to
gonna buy back and try to defend, but it's looking very rough for them.
Dyer's
As mid
middle
one still
tower
has the
is
Aegis.
no more.
And they have so much sustain. Mid one, he's gonna zip in onto Alpha, the bash is up. Mid one is gonna come in with the spin now, and the bash comes out fearless. He will be forced to zip away the Q. He does not have zipper capable, not reliant as Jackie. He will die. Oh, he will get the kill on Arthur.
What are you
So he
on
gets the
about?
Rubik. And SMG, they're gonna back on. Fearless now zipping in right through 3 of them, but the bash is there. This is the Abyssal Blade. They have got the Storm. Jackie, he is still trying. Mid one, playing around here, but he's getting really stunned up for quite a while. Leona now dropping quite low, but KP is going to be targeted. Jackie, he'll find another. Back on the mid one. The mag fight is upon us. The jug.
Battle
Burst the ball.
3!
This is
Mid one,
the
quickly it goes.
ridiculous.
Leona, he goes down. Another kill for the jug. Onto Jackie again. Jackie is still trying to battle. There's your finger out Q. He'll get the job done. He'll interrupt. Now onto Arthur. They've got the Rubik down. He will gimmick, but it's not going to be good enough. Or is it?
Never
A
refuse
little
good.
sneaky Duke there does get himself out. And now KP's back. They have the RP up.
Chained in
Earthspike is out.
searing
Now
heat.
Nia shows up with the Sleight of Fist and chains. Arthur, quite low, gets the lift onto Masaros, and the Arcana, the Psychic Headband, excuse me, does get him out into the Earthspike. That'll be it. So 2 Raxes down, no T4 towers, but MTG are still going.
that they are SMG just sort of forcing the issue there, not respecting the buybacks. Motivate.Trust managing to find some angles.
That's
Their
for me.
backs are against the wall now, though. Like, the moment they lose a fight, the high ground's going to be siege, and SMG is going to look to close the game out. They need to finish up this last item on Jackie. Looks like he's finishing up the Satanic here. And just go all in. Hope that your Morphling can overcome the Scotty. Hope that he can just stand and fight. The lucky bashes coming through from mid one has been changing the dynamic. Like, you can't just zip in for Fearless anymore. Once a Blade Fury's up with the Ag Shard, you're gonna melt to that free right click at half damage, and you will just eventually get bashed at some point.
Uh-oh, Nia has been caught. Oh, the Ethereal though, we'll get him. Fearless now, TP's into the outpost, onto Arfu, they'll find another.
Dominating.
Not gonna save, Jackie has the damage. And Dota Plus was saying that there was over a 90% chance that SMG would win. But you never really count Motivate.Trust out. They've done this many times before. In fact, there's 2 heroes down with that buyback right now, John. So you never know what they could do.
Oh, yeah. They're gonna try to force it. They have to respect the RP coming through. There is an RP and Omni ready to go from KP in mid one.
Gonna go in with a spin. Jackie will spin himself. Bit of a Beyblade action here between these two. Mid one. He'll move in again onto Leona. No, they've got the Hex off. They've got the jump. Mid one. He's gone. KP could not save him. He'll go back for KP. He's gonna drop without buyback. Oh no, what have they done? In they
my
go,
God.
Jackie. He smells blood on the water. He's onto the tier 4 towers. And how do you stop this? It's 2 versus 5. They've got 15 seconds for Arthur and Nia, but they've got to buy the timeout. And even without KP, I'm not sure if they can fight this. Masteros, he's got a front line now. They head southfield against the Orchid. Back to the tier 4 towers, boys. Ancient should be exposed very soon, but here come the respawns. Jackie, he's been bashed up. Mid one, gonna move in. Leon's trying to save him. The Ancient's still under siege, but mid one is trying to fight. Jackie fighting back. There's no damage flying out now. Jackie's out of mana. This is looking really dark, but the Ancient is still falling. They keep focusing it down. They get it. They get it done again. You can't count these guys out. They've done it too many times now, John. We can't doubt them anymore.
5 seconds remain. Dire's turn to ban. Seconds. 5 seconds. It is Radiant's ban. Dire's turn to ban. It is Radiant's ban.
I had some shakes at the end there. Motivate.Trust bouncing back in, holding off the Ancient fight, going into the high ground, somehow managing to kill off mid one and KP. That was the big one. Like, mid one walking in was a bit optimistic, but he was waiting for the backup from KP. Never came out. Fearless found the right target to silence up and Vortex up as they were all focusing on the Jug, and that just cut off the combo from SMG. So it fell a bit flat. SMG maybe overstaying their welcome and trying to go for that jugular there, straight for the Ancient after their high ground fight. And it just gave the opportunity for Motivate.Trust to bounce back. So very close game. I don't think anyone could have predicted it to end that way. We do have the draft rolling in here for game number 2, though. SMG do get the Beastmaster, so they've got that tool on hand. Motivate.Trust do start out with the Death Prophet. Surprising that both teams kind of just leaving that Beastmaster in here as well. Like the fact that it's not banned and Motivate.Trust just don't pick it up. I guess it's because Fearless, you haven't seen him play that here at all. So it kind of makes sense, but you give this strong tool for SMG to play with. SMG, though, go with a line to follow up, so they've got really good control on their side. Very good stuns for stuff like any of the Spirit Brothers. I think when you see that Beastmaster core, especially if it's going to be mid here for Nia, you might want to consider a Rubik pickup here for Motivate.Trust, just to be able to steal the access, have some flex for, say, a Fearless Rubik mid, and just kind of go that way. That's probably the best response to the Beastmaster you could ask for.
It is Dire's ban.
Clockwork!
Radiant's turn to ban. Seconds remain. 5 seconds remain. Dire's turn to ban.
It was way too risky. Way too risky. They couldn't find the angle for their follow-up stuns. They were forcing the issue out way too long. They didn't respect the buybacks flying through from Motivate.Trust. Heck, they didn't respect the Lion. Q really managed to get a lot of good work once he got the Hex combo off onto the Juggernaut. Like, they do have good heals with the Undying around, but it wasn't enough. Like, they had no dispels on their side. They had no way of saving the Jug outside of a Glimmer Cape, and it was just not enough. Like, the burst damage was there for Motivate.Trust. It was also a bit of a damage issue for SMG. The itemization for mid one, right? He went for Manta, Diffusal, Basher, Abyssal. There was no damage on him. Like, he had to rely completely on Empower. We saw that actually come out towards the end when they tried to focus Masaros. With a Diffusal, you drain his mana, but you wouldn't kill him. So any other time, like, you drain his mana and you still focus on that Bristleback, it's time wasted. It's not efficient in the fight, and it sort of just fell flat for SMG in terms of damage output towards the end because of that itemization. They were really relying on KP to stay alive, to keep Nea and keep mid one topped up. And that was the hard part, because Motivate Trust knew that was going to happen. They kept focusing down KP as much as possible, preventing him from getting good RPs and from preventing him from living true to get that empower off every single time.
It is Dire's ban. Radiant's turn to ban. Radiant must choose. Dire's turn to pick.
Monkey King.
Ten seconds remain. 5 seconds remain.
Yeah, it definitely will be. I think there's a huge improvement across all the teams going into Season 2 here. Like, South Build, of course, they were formerly Vice. They dropped down from the upper div, but here in the lower div, it looks like they've regained their footing. They're looking a lot better. They did drop one series down, but overall still in the lower div games played. We'll have to see how as it builds on. The draft does continue. SMG do take the Monkey King. So they take the Monkey King against Jackie. And it looks like that should be our mid one here. Possibly Nea's hero, but I think Nea's just going to have to, has the preference for highly mobile Spirit Brothers. Of course, Monkey King can be sort of mobile as well with a tree jump and, the talent spikes where that just drops down to crazy. So you've got some ability on hand. Probably still looking for your MG Trust. You go with the Oracle, which they love to play around. They know the timings of the Oracle. They know what to hit with it. And it does look like SMG do go for the KP Brewmaster. So we haven't seen that, or at least not as often as before. It's still one of his specials. I think every single time they do manage to sneak that away back in TNC, it always looks great. So KP's on very strong cover from here. We do have our looks like we have our 2 cores on hand with Nea Beastmaster hammered in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's the perfect timings too. It's like 3 o'clock for that next matchup on schedule. So that's like the perfect time for Merienda, Mike. That's a Merienda showdown, a Merienda Rambulan. There it is. Yeah.
Dire's turn to ban.
Storm Spirit.
Oh.
It is Radiant's ban.
I don't. Got Beastmaster, right? Like that usually is the mid. I don't know if there's flexibility for Brewmaster support, but with a line it feels pretty greedy. So I think they've just kind of hammered in their Tricore and Trust. I mean, they have to deal with a Beastmaster, sure, but they've got the Oracle. So you've got False Promise, and you've got the Fate's Edict around. You've got some protection towards some magic damage there as well. It can line up. There is some counterplay coming through there for Motivate.Trust. Whether or not it's enough to stop the insanity of Beastmaster is another question. But there are some some back and forth here for both sides. We'll have to see what MG Trust will opt for the Oracle combo now. Troll's still an option here if you want to go for that. Perhaps something else down the line as well. Maybe an Ursa would be nice with the Oracle, not the most native hero. I think the Troll just lines up really nicely. Laning against Brewmaster could still be annoying, but you've got the Oracle combo. You might as well go for something like a Troll here. Yeah. Oh no. Oh. You know, the crazy thing is that's exactly what could happen as well. Like TNC, they love their morph combos, as you mentioned, but Neon, they're not afraid of running core Rubik. They're not afraid to give that to your Paj, so you know, that could be something to look forward to if Beastmaster isn't banned. I think this is just the outlier series for both teams selected true. For the most part, it is a priority ban, so we'll have to see when that series comes around. That would be spicy though. All the access, all of it.
Riki.
Select your hero. Make the ultimate choice.
Oh! Oh, Fupru, okay. It really is. It feels greedy for SMG though. Like you're running a Brewmaster 4, so that's a line 5. Blink timing for lines going to be slow. Levels for your Brewmaster line are going to be slow. You have to build farm up on your Monkey King and your Riki. You don't have something like Empower to get their damage up. So there's quite a fair bit that SMG will have to wait for. They're going to have to really try to apply that early pressure with the Brewmaster Beastmaster lane, so the two masters together, the master lane coming out there. And Motivate.Trust, it's very straightforward. They've got the off-lane DP with the push timings and the sustain. They've got the Ursa with the Oracle combo, as mentioned, potentially coming through either that or the Troll. Ursa's still really good with this kind of combination. You can keep him alive for a long time. He has really good shards as well. And Furious on the Storm. Against a Riki, I mean, Riki has a lot of ways to kind of still find his last hits. Storm Spirit should still be able to get that early advantage up, clear out the wave a bit easier, whereas for Riki, it takes a little bit more effort to really be efficient in wave clear. So you're getting a little bit more there on MG.Trust for the matchup. That's very different. I'm going to answer your question right now, and what I think is better, I'm going to say Motivate.Trust. I think the shakeup from SMG is risky. If you don't get farm and EXP on that Pause 4 Brewmaster, and you don't get the levels up, and really we have to see what KP's build-up is on the offlane Beastmaster, because offlane Beast, you still want Ags, but at the same time you have the blink has to come through first, and if you don't go for early Ags, like you miss out on a lot of early farm that can come in. So we'll have to see what KP opts for as well.
What about wisely? If KP goes for the Helm of the Dominator instead and plays Beastmaster the same way, because I'm not sure if they have room to be that greedy with the Aghanim Scepter this game. That's my issue, right? Because you look at the draft of SMG, and it's your classic SCA kind of pub draft, right? Where there's 4 cores and there's a 5th guy who's going to play position 6, but really he might just, you know, go get an Aghanim Scepter line as well, you know, just for the lols. And I don't know if you have space for the Aghanim Scepter Beastmaster this game. I think KP might need to be a bit more selfless, which he does tend to play like in the off lane. So I don't know if he actually will get the axe.
Yeah, but it brings back a point that I remember the panel from Upper Div saying when we were casting with him. I think it was Lacoste or Lizard saying this, but if you pick these strong heroes in a patch and you don't play to their new strengths, it feels like you miss out. Like nothing about Beastmaster improves in terms of push. In fact, it's worse without Necronomicon. So you can play that selfless Beastmaster focusing on objectives, but you will not have the same spikes as he once has, and you're not going to have the same spikes that he does have now because of that shift. So we'll have to see. It is too greedy. I agree with you. That's why SMG's draft, it's going to be really hard to pull off here.
Let's see, Earthspike is out. Bounty's still going to go the way of MTG on the top side as KB now is going to cop a fair bit of harassment out from Q, and saw this yesterday in another tournament. Q just really likes to get as much of the battery assault out at level 1 as possible. Let's get quite a nice bit of damage out onto KB. And so the mid lane, this is the one I want to start with, John. Nia 666 against Fearless, the Riki vs Storm. Does this in any way favor the Riki?
Not really. I think it's not like an Invoker you're harassing out. You can still play your Blink Strike and try to farm, but Fearless can gap close, get the Remnant off, control the lane, and apply some good harassment onto Nate. It gets worse once you hit level 3 on Fearless, so Nate's just going to have to watch his spacing, really work that Blink Strike, get his last hits going. You're already off to a fairly good start for Fearless, but there's some potential for Ricky. Like if you get a good line rotation to stun out, and the silence could be potent if you level that up early.
That it could. I mean, for now, at least they're just going to farm up and try to take it easy. Like I say, that Nia now going to get quite a bit of harassment off, but Fearless will be just fine. Of course, top lane, you've got Jackie and Leona X up against KB and Mushi. Mushi decided to go to the off lane this time around with KB. I'll throw the Brewmaster down at the bottom. Leona, he's actually taking quite a bit of damage out from Mushi. He's going to be able to salve up and be just fine.
I like to keep
so KB, even with these balls that aren't quite as strong as they used to be, he's still applying a lot of pressure onto Jackie and just being a nuisance overall for now.
Yeah, it's a slower lane for Motivate.Trust to play with. Like Ursa needs some levels, so does the Oracle in order to get that harassment out. The Oracle as well going for level 1 fortunes and minions. He can't quite burst down to boars, so you're always gonna have this great laning presence out from KP. He's 9-1, Jackie's still 6-0, and as long as you manage to play with your boars and your axes here, you're gonna feel really nice for KP. You're always gonna find that farm, and Mushi's just doing a fantastic job of cutting off Leona from finding the support for Jackie. So it's a slower start for MTG up top. We'll have to see how that gets relieved. Of course, that does mean Mushi can maybe get a rotation out to mid down line. Still the last lane down bot. Masaros is on that DP, and mid one is dropping low enough, but the DP is holding out pretty nicely here as well. Except mid one is still finding some really good farm. Afu on the pause 4 Brewmaster down bot is still getting some good zoning. This is bad for the Clockwork. Like, he wants to abuse the battery assault, as you mentioned, but Brewmaster is super tanky, and he can turn around with a Thunderclap, and once he has Drunken Brawler, it could be really nasty as well. So Q doesn't have the safest targets to actually jump in and harass. Like, you can't really commit towards a Monkey King because of Jingu, so Q's just in a very awkward spot where his laning presence doesn't feel amazing.
No, I mean, that's why Arthur's holding that skill point as well, right? Like, you want to see if you need the Drunken Brawler, because Q is going to take more damage if he does going for the battery assault cogs. We might see it now, but he's just trying to avoid the small cap being pulled away by Arfu. He's still going to try, but he might be a bit too early, and yeah, Q's just going to be annoying overall, trying to really make sure he can't get the pull off. And that is another thing, though, that MTG have their way, that if the lane is pushed out the way of the Dire, Masaros is going to be able to harass mid one quite nicely with the soul, with the Spirit Siphons, and mid one can't really do much about it if he does get them off.
Yeah, but mid one can focus on farming really well. Like, there's not much harassment coming through. He is abusing that pseudo melee attack, and he's still up there in last hits 21-9, having a way better time than Jackius, and Masaros is having an even worse time as well. So the progression here for MTG is just not great.
The ground, and we're already looking for
happens. Leona X able to kill off Mushi, but the axes are going to fly through from KB, and they do secure the kill. Can go back on that point as well, John. KP has opted to, at least for now, go for the level 2 Call of the Wild. So not opting to max the axes yet. Might just go all the way with it.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to play the off lane. Like, you still need to be the playmaker. You're gonna need a blink for the blink roar. Maybe the dominator, as you mentioned, could be pretty nice here as well. I think Vlad's might actually be better for KP to get that early momentum going with a Monkey King and Ricky. We'll have to see. It's a really good start for the Beastmaster still. You did find that kill on MTG, but Jackie is just not farming the same way. And a slowly farmed Ursa means a slow Battle Fury, and slow Battle Fury means really slow progression in the jungle there for Jackie.
Oh, he might be punished now as well. Mushi going to come in for an Earth Spike. He went for the Earth Shock to try and kill off the ball, but it's going to be a lot of damage output from KP and Mushi. Leona X not quite at that level 4 mark yet either, so he doesn't have the Fate's Edict to really be able to heal him up on this Ursa. Does give him a Tango instead. So KB, he's going to interrupt that small camp pull and just take the creep wave for himself, while Mushi does go for a large camp pull. However, bot lane, Masaros, oh Q, nice little tree trump there with the Tango, mid one. Got stunned for a bit, and that meant he could not chase down Masaros or Q. The end, Arfu does end up going down to the Brewmaster.
Just really good positioning there from MTG. Not a kill you'd expect. Like, Brewmaster is super tanky and, you know, really hard to zone out, but if you do find the angle, it can work out. You did manage to go into the Cinder Brew here for Afu, so he doesn't have the Drunken Brawler to play with, and Q now with a level up can feel comfy with level 2 PA.
Mushi does drop KB, he will at least trade support. In fact, he'll force the TP away from Jackie. Jackie's gonna go all the way back to the fountain, then run his way back into the lane, so no waste of time here for Jackie.
No.
It might be one of those games for Motivate where you kind of rely much more on Fearless to try and set the tempo rather than the Ursa. We'll see how that works out as Mushi now's rotated into the mid lane with the Earth Spike out. They've caught Fearless. He is level 7 though, and Mushi does not have level 4. Does not have the Hex up. Fearless will be able to get himself out.
Money changes hands.
A bit optimistic to try to lock in a storm like that. Like, the TP in for Mushi as well. It's not like there's a bottle to refill, so they get some harassment out, forces Fearless back just a bit, but he does have his bottle up. He's going to be able to stack up now, build up that triangle stack, and try to just get a smooth ride going. It's been really good for Fearless, 47-5, and they are not too far behind though, at 41-7. So the Ricky's still having a pretty good ramp up, very even across most of the lanes, very even kills, 2-3, less than 1k lead going out for SMG. Big one to watch out for is KP.
He does roar in. Leona, and he's going to try and run, but there's no chance in hell. He's at that level 4, but KP just way too good on heroes like this, the Beastmaster, and immediately just tries to abuse the roar. Meanwhile, on lane, R2 does drop to Masaros, mid one, still trying to fight, does go back onto Q and Nia. He's going to rotate to secure the kill. In fact, he goes on to Masaros now, and that is a lot of damage with that Orb of Corrosion. He is really getting through the HP pool of Masaros. It's not going to be fast enough, still going to straight back in, and now he gets it. And that is a really nice rotation now from Nia, 666. A double kill straight off the bat. Again, I was wondering how much this mid Ricky was going to be able to get done, but well, for now, Nia's doing a great job.
Yep, he's finding farm, he's rotating out. In some ways, core Ricky is very similar to Ember, right? Like the timing into your boots upgrade and corrosion is massive. So Nia can actually get some good damage out. He just needs some additional control. Still, MTG, they're smoked up. Fearless is level 8 here.
Jackie pops the enrage, but they have backup. Lucy, no, it's going to be KP they want. With the Fortune's End to lock him down, it's not going to be too hard as they give the kill over to Jackie. That's an important kill to get as you were already talking about it, but the Ursa was struggling quite a bit in terms of farm. A bit of breathing room to try and catch up, but now Nia has also made a bit of a rotation up towards the top side of the map. But it looks like he's not going to feel too confident moving in on anyone. He's going to go back to the mid lane and perhaps just keep farming up. Fearless. He's going to get jumped here, but gets the Vortex off. Q is going to show up, but there's no dust. They can't lock him down, and now KP is going to get the roar off. Leona is around with the disarm on the Ricky to make sure Fearless return back around to KP, but the blink strike back here. Fearless, he is so darn low. They can't get him with the trade. No! I'm over here. No. Nia is not going to be able to finish the job. He thought about another blink strike in. He'll go on to Q, but Leona again with the disarm. It's being a real nuisance already, and now Q goes in for a battery assault, and the Cox pushback, but Nia is going to punish him.
You didn't see
they don't have the Fortune's End yet. Leona, he can't purge off the hills, and Nia's going to get another double kill. They got too greedy. You've got to wait till the Fortune's End is up. Otherwise, you're just healing the Ricky.
That that was optimistic to the turnaround. I think they would have already felt happy by having Fearless back off. They get a bit too fearless themselves, and it's a really good bounce back for Nia. He still finds a couple of kills. The Ricky builds up, number one in net worth off of that. He is still having a really good time. I believe he's flying out one blade of alacrity now, so the Ricky's going to hit a lot harder. You do want some EXP to start flowing here for your supports on SMG, especially this Brewmaster. Afu's basically a pause 5 brew. Mushi already has his 6 and Finger ready to go. So you have Finger Roar ready, but you need to split up on Afu to really follow up on the control and Fearless, isolate him out in these fights. And the side of MTG now, well, they've got level 6 on Monstros. They can start clumping around bot and use that Exorcism for a push.
Nia's going to come in, try and stop this from happening. Leona going to be targeted first, of course. No, they want Masaros on the DP, and they burst him down. Boy, that was quick. Masaros just completely disappearing. As Fearless now is going to rotate on the Storm. I don't really see much of an angle here for Fearless.
Dire's top
I suppose he does have the Arcane Rune into the bottle, so maybe he just feels confident to go for a fight right here, right now.
Dire should look to their top
he
tower.
has respawned, but hasn't decided where he's going to TP yet, it seems, and
Dire's top
does
tower
eventually
has
decide on the
fallen.
bot lane. The top lane was being forced in by KB, and I suppose he thought he can't defend it anyway. It was way too late. They may as well just try to trade the bottom T1 instead.
For Dire's middle tower.
Yeah, there goes that Exorcism. There is still a defense here, though. SMG are TPing in.
But they are. They want to fight. Nia, Fearless going to move in onto the Brewmaster Afu. He cannot get the split up in time. They'll get him onto another. The line moves in trouble, but a nice double stun. Not going to be enough with the Wukong's command. Still Fearless is going to zip out. The buybacks are there, though. They really want this fight. Q is going to TP out. KP, he does not have the roar up. Instead, onto Masaros they go, but Masaros, he wants mid one. He's happy to give his life away for this. He will die, but for the greater good. As SMG will lose out very heavily in that team fight.
Radiant should
I'd say
look to their
the
middle
buybacks,
tower.
it was only Afu, but it's not going to feel very worthwhile at all.
No, I mean, you're already stalled out here on the Brewmaster. He does have the earn up, needs a lot more to really have massive impact on that hero. So some of that factor of greed starts to come into question here for SMG. Losing out on mid one as well means that the Battle Fury timing stalls out even more. And you already have the Battle Fury on Jackie. So the Ursa is going to be flash farming a little bit better. You need to start taking control of the jungle here from the side of SMG. But look at the words of MG Trust. They're just keeping the top lane safe and trying to give jungle space out for Jackie.
Strike in, Nia, going to force the enrage.
Radiant's bottom
all he
tower
wanted.
is in danger.
Force the Ursa away from that farming position. State of this game right now, still a slight net worth lead for Team SMG. But Jackie, you look at his farm on that Ursa and he's caught up quite nicely. Already top of the net worth board, and you look back over to Fearless on that Storm, he's got the Orchid up now. Things are looking rather spicy for MTG and SMG. They've got to be very careful now. MTG are going to start looking towards that mid-tier 1 tower. Never mind, he's about to target KP. He's been caught out of the Beastmaster. Probably the awkward reveal out from Fearless on a very nice pickoff. Masaros has got Exorcism in 15 seconds, so they can definitely go onto the mid-tier 1 very soon if they wish.
And they've got that pressure on hand. Inside of SMG right now, again, they're sitting back, they're trying to farm up. They still need mid one to get his Battle Fury. They still need the full alacrity to fly up and nail, which it is. So the Ricky's damage output now gets a bit ridiculous. He just needs to focus the Oracle first. If you get Leona out, you don't have to worry about disarms and the false promise. That's going to be the big one. Leona needs to watch his positioning there, but they are sort of clumping up here on the side of MTG. No smokes yet. Not quite a popping map, but they are still working that map well. 10-10, less than 1k lead on MG Trust. Jackie pulling ahead because of that early B Fury, but SMG smoked earlier.
They do, but they might just run into Leona here. They'll take the target. Nia is the only one to show, so they don't know they're smoked off yet. Motivate.Trust, they are being rather careful.
Middle tower is under
Masaros,
attack.
he got scanned down, but he'll TP. Instead, SMG now showing in the mid lane for a bit. Be mid one trying to bait for his team. It's a very juicy kind of bait, but his team is right behind him waiting. Motivate.Trust, they seem to know about this. They're not gonna engage.
There is
They're gonna let it go down, but there he found another target with the hawk out from KB. They'll have the vision with the false promise. Is gonna save the life of the Clockwork. They got what they came for. They got that mid-tier 1 tower, and SMG should be happy enough to just back.
Yeah, I mean, they can go straight for the Roche pit. They've got a lot of control, a lot of damage flying through on the Roche. The side of Motivate.Trust, Fearless.
Whoa, what'd I miss?
Fearless is zipping in. He found the line, but he's gonna get roared up.
No.
Fearless did not realize the Roshan was going on. Oh boy, that is not good news. And now Q's been caught out. MTG, a bit of panic here. SMG, they will take full advantage and found themselves another 2 kills before they go back into the Roshan pit.
That was just really unfortunate. I thought Fearless was trying to preemptively jump Roche, but the rest of his team was too far behind to follow up that kind of move. And now, they don't have anything to fight in that pit. It's going to be a nice, easy Roshan for SMG. The respawns are fairly short, but way too long. Maybe you can make a cheeky play with Q TPing onto the outpost, but it doesn't feel worthwhile. And with the Aegis up, you're going to have protection for either Nea or mid 1. It should be Nea picking, so the Ricky's protected. He's going to be able to get that damage off. He's always going to have an opportunity to find the angle onto the Oracle. And Motivate.Trust, well, they're not lagging too far behind. They're still number 1 with Jackie and the
Shot. Oh, they found a big one, mid 1.
Let the
That was a
fun
very
begin.
confident farming position from mid 1.
The lions.
Mushi, he's gonna get punished too. I'm not sure what the idea was there. Generally, it's the corner of the lane where you've got to be very careful, right? Like, that's about the boundary. If you get anywhere near that top tier 2 tower, you're inviting them to come in like that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't hold the outpost here in SMG. They don't have wards in the jungle. I don't know why you'd be that far forward. Like, they weren't even carrying the Aegis. I could understand if Neo was just wanting to farm aggressively with the Aegis, but it was mid 1. Just a bit of an awkward movement out, and really good punishment from Motivate.Trust, though. They see the opening, they make it work, so they keep mid 1 down. The gap between mid 1 and Jackie grows to 1k. The blink's up on Jackie. He just needs a little bit more farm to come in. Neo is hunting them down, though.
And he is, Jackie. He'll be able to back off.
She has a blink.
And Nia has a diffusal blade. Jackie shows himself again. TP up in 2 seconds, but he knows he's going to get out soon. Get himself out. Yeah, I'm going to spot him, Jackie. He's being greedy. He's going to be punished for this one. Finger out. He'll go down. Maybe on the top side. It looks like because mid 1 was showing. That's why he showed up at the bot lane. But mid 1, he might be dead again. The Crypt Swarm connects. They have the damage. So both carries getting very greedy there on the side lanes. And they both get punished for it.
Is under attack.
Yeah, it's awkward for both sides. Really even trade in the end because of that. Slightly better for Motivate.Trust as, you know, Fearless just grabs even more to build into on the Storm. Once you have the BKB up in the Storm, you're going to be very scary. There's no stuns to control you. You're going to have to commit Roar on KP, which means that there's more room there for Leona, more room for Jackie to just survive and try to get some control back in their way still.
Poke out, looks like they have got the Storm, but again, the false promise from Leona. It's going to save the day, and now they'll move in onto the line. They want to try and turn this team fight around. Mushi with the Glimmer Cape is not going to be able to survive. Jackie will get the kill on the Ursa. Q, he wants a bit more. Nice starts down. He ran right into Nia 666, but mid 1 is going to turn around now with a Boundless Strike. Fearless in trouble. Gets the Okudov onto the Ricky, but he is still chasing Nia. Wants the kill, but still Jackie. Going to jump in after KP now. They'll get the Beastmaster. There goes the Aegis, and now the Exorcism has been popped mid 1. He needs to run the best he can after. He's going to try and help, but it's not going to be enough. They've got the Monkey King again. Meanwhile, on the side, Nia has been silenced, but Fearless, he has no mana. He has to be very careful because Nia could turn right back around, but no, he's buying time. He's buying time for Jackie to make his way over and help him out with the kill. In fact, they found more now. Arfu, he's going to try and run. And Fearless kind of tells you the story of that team fight. It was all off the back of Leona Getting the false promise out on the Storm and just keeping them alive throughout the whole team fight.
Oh, man.
That was a very nice kind of Oracle play there from Leona.
Yeah, really smooth. Not just the false promises, but his Ghost Scepter as well. Saving him from the Ricky jump back in, gave him the control needed to follow up on a very low mana Storm. So you've got some issues from SMG. You need a nullifier at some point here. You still see Nea queuing up that sleeping dart on the Ag Shard. Now that could be one way to take out the Oracle from the fight. You just need to still find that angle. Still always target the Oracle first. Like, they just couldn't find the angle there. Leona positioning is looking a lot better as this game goes on. And Jackie is starting to be a massive issue. As soon as he blinks in, even without BKB, he just has so much more damage than a Ricky and a Monkey right now. Like, you need the Ags up on mid 1. He's saving up for it. 2 parts away, in fact, 1 part away with his gold. There is a smoke out here from Motivate.Trust though, and Fearless is in position for that zip.
He is. And look at this, a smoke up. Leona, Jackie gonna run right to the triangle. Mid one, he's gonna be very careful. They know exactly where he's going. Jackie, quick strike in, and there is your zip in. Raw has been committed, but you have the false promise there to purge it off, and Jackie will find mid one again. He just read him like a book there, John. Just exactly where he was.
Dire's
is where
bottom
they
tower
went.
is under attack. Dire structures
SMG,
are
can they
fortified.
punish anyone on Motivate.Trust? They're gonna try. Masaros, he's smoked up with Q and Leona. Leona's still around, but no false promises up. Still Nia seemingly needs to back off as Mushi now is the one called out, and he will summon the lion.
Unbelievable!
And this could be very
Dire's
bad
bottom tower
news.
is under attack.
SMG, we talked about their draft. We talked about the fact that it was a little bit greedier and definitely harder to execute than, say, what Motivate.Trust has. And I don't think the draft is necessarily made to be played from behind.
No, 100% no. You want to be ahead. The Ricky needs to be ahead. The Monkey King needs to be ahead right now. They're at best even. Jackie's just pulling so far ahead though. Becomes a bit scary. Fearless, he has his BKB, so the smoke screen's not going to help. If you roar Fearless and not Leona, Leona is still going to get false promise in these fights. That's the big issue. They've got this BKB piercing stun on the roar, but they have the Oracle to purge it off. So KP is going to have a really hard time in isolating here. SMG don't smoke up. Know that false promise is down for a little bit longer. Roche is not quite up. They are going a bit blind. They don't have forward vision in top jungle, only in the triangle here.
Middle tower is under attack.
Lane, Jackie gonna show. This is bait. Jackie has his team on the right side.
He's here.
T1
Radiant structures are fortified.
gonna go
Dire
down. It looks
are
like
scanning
Jackie
for
there to set up.
enemies.
SMG obviously well aware that the team is
Radiant's
right there
middle tower
behind
is
the
under
Ursa
fire.
and will not initiate. They'll wait for an opening.
And it's off.
Radiant's
That'll
middle
be it.
tower is
MTG,
under
they do not
attack.
get punished. So it looks like they're ready to slowly start sieging the bottom tier 2 tower. On the brighter side for
Radiant's bottom
SMG,
tower is
mid one
under
does
attack.
have the Ags up now.
Oh,
Oh, he was spotted. They saw it, they took what was there, they did right in onto Alfu, they get the kill. He'll fight back. Wukong's command, Raw is out, Q will be targeted, however Mushi, he's in trouble. Gets your finger around Q. He is gone, Jackie has the false promise, Masaros getting deleted in the Wukong's command, and now they turn around back onto the Oracle. Meanwhile, on the left side, Jackie has been controlled up, mid one jumps in, and this should be a very nice team fight. MTG getting caught with their pants down. Will get punished. In SMG, considering how bad of a start it was to that team fight, it's kind of crazy how the only person to die was Afu.
Yeah, they overcommit on Motivate.Trust side. Like, the moment they killed Afu, they were clumped up for a triple Earth Spike coming out from Mushi, and they kind of split the fight
Dire's
up.
middle
Like, Fearless and
tower is
Jackie
under
were
attack.
elsewhere, Masaros and Q were elsewhere, and they just got isolated. They couldn't use their spells in conjunction. Very good cleanup from SMG. They're going to get a nice free tier 2, and Motivate.Trust lose that lead. It's down to less than 1k now, so really good swing back for SMG, and Motivate.Trust kind of underestimating the counterfight potential from SMG. They need a 4-staff here. Like, they've got some Ghost Scepters up. You still need a 4-staff to either take the Monkey King outside his Wukongs or get yourself out from the smoke screen.
Q, nice one shot, that'll be a dieback on Afu if he's left alone.
Incoming.
And he will be. Very nice there from Q to set up, and Again, that'll be the Brewmaster gone for about 50 seconds now. Can Motivate do anything with this? Roshan is up.
Yeah, that should be the play. They can try to force it out. They don't have to worry about any Brewlings in the middle of the fight to be disruptive. Free Ag Shard, you can't allow SMG to get that. Like, when you see Nea, he had the shard. He already has his shard, so that Sleeping Dart is in play. He can isolate Leona if he finds that positioning. Roche will not turn Ursa. They've got to move fast about this.
See if the Sleeping Dart comes into play as they do throw it out.
Yeah.
Fearless. He's gonna get stunned up. How annoying is that gonna be? It's a very short cooldown, by the way, John. Very short. Nice zip, though.
Boom, there he
Yeah,
goes.
this is so annoying. Well,
Zip!
And they go.
Where's the party?
oh, the tree cut!
Jackie, he caught KP.
Good
They caught him. KP. He's the one to go down first. Mushi, he will drop
You
KP.
had
He's
your
going out
warning.
there with the Glimmer Cape, but mid one has been left behind on the Monkey King, and he's dead.
Wish fulfilled.
Mid one was trying to use his Wukongs. The zip broke the tree. He was stuck.
No.
They couldn't get the follow-up, and now Roche is going to go MTG's
bottom
way.
tower is
Aegis, Cheese, and Shard.
Immortality is
Shard
mine.
for Jackie. The Battle of Balance, Mike, Earthshock, and Rage now up.
Dire's
So
bottom
pick your
tower
poison.
is
What's
under
stronger?
attack.
Sleeping Dart or Enrage on Earthshock? I have a feeling it's Earthshock, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really stupid question, John. Of course it's the Earthshock one. 1.5 seconds worth of an enrage buff on yourself, and it reduces the cooldown of Earthshock by 1 second. Because why not? Because 8 seconds was too long, Ice Frog, was it?
Yeah, way too long. Now you just have to hope for tier 3 items, nice little quickening charm, you know, to make things nice and spicy and see if you get lucky.
You'll get a bonus. It'll happen, I guarantee it.
SMG now. I mean, they showed off the Sleeping Dart. I think what needs to happen is Nea Sleeping Darts Leona, and you clean up everyone else, or you Sleeping Dart the Storm somehow. Very hard because it's projectile still. They're coming in.
Yeah, mid one, Leona X. It's a nice target to start on. Meanwhile, Fearless has caught somebody else. However, looks like the mid lane. They do kill off Nia. A much bigger target, and now Jackie seeing that Nia going down. He does kill off KB. Q, he does die. The Wukong's command mid one.
To master.
Does get something for their trouble, but it is not a good trade whatsoever.
Stupendous.
2 cores across the map for 2 supports. Motivate.Trust, they should be able to get at least 1 tower out of this.
Yeah, if they want to. It looks like they're not fully committing for top. They
Radiant's
want to keep
top
working the
tower is
map right
under
now.
attack.
And Jackie is blocking.
Oh, they spotted him out. Primal Split's going to be committed. They'll be able to get him out of there now. Little space creation there from Arfu, but that is going to mean his Primal Split is going to be down for a while. But perhaps if you motivate, you think to yourself, maybe you can abuse that timing while the split is down. You've got almost 2 minutes to go for it. They found a DD route. Very nice.
Yeah, it's on demand there still.
Perfect time.
Over here now.
Use the might.
Fearless,
Zip zap.
using no boots at the moment. Jump in, Nia. He's got Masaros, BKB, False Promise. It's going to be enough to save the day.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It's like Jackie wants to just try and finish off the, what looks like a Satanic before they get any more too involved, and it's mid one going for. He wants the basher up. He's not going for the immediate Daedalus rush that we've been seeing a lot of on these Monkey Kings.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, you do need some follow-up stunts to go through that
Radiant's
now,
bottom
so
tower
you
is
get
under
control on
attack.
hand. They are still sort of clumped up. The Aegis is still running here for MTG. They've got about a full 2 minutes on it. So they still have a lot of opportunities to just take control of the map. Again, go for those towers. Jackie's starting to dig into that bot tier 2. SMG starting to focus on the top to try and force a trade or a response. Because there are still force fights to play with. And both sides will just kind of try to go for objectives for now and stall out the big team fight. You don't really want to force it with SMG. Like Aegis on Fearless just gives him a ton to play with. So even trades as SMG still wait out on new items as well. The Manta is not yet up for Nea. He's stalled out since the Yasha after the defusal. It's not been a smooth ride for the Ricky, lagging behind in farm now. So that greed, again, is a big factor here, and they're still going to have to find a way to get that gold flowing. KP saving up for the Ags. Halfway there. Just needs to get some farm up, and that's the story of the game for SMG. They just need to keep farming and hit these item spikes and bounce back in that
is
way.
under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under
Motivate, they've
attack.
smoked up. Healers looks like he's just trying to bait around for his team right now. SMG, they counter smoke. KP, not smoked, but he might be the bait. There's the pings flying out. Motivate, they want to go for this. Zip is in. KP, he has indeed been targeted. They're going to try and turn. Wukong's command, not out yet, but he does finally get it out mid-1. They're going to run out of that circle, but they've got the Aegis on Fearless. A nice start. Still KP is being chased down by Masteros and might just drop to the ghost. In fact, Fearless is going to zip right in and make sure they get the kill.
Here I am.
Because they want Nia, he's underneath the sentry ward right now. Fearless gets the vortex, Jackie gets the bashes, they get the kill. Fu trying to TP, but no, Leona. He'll have something else to say about that. Fu, he will die. A double kill out for Jackie, and it's going to be a 3-for-0 trade. Motivate now with a 9k lead. In fact, they got the Aegis, but it's not really a line.
Middle tower is under
It was
attack.
about to expire anyway. Like, it would have expired by now, so really good Aegis use there from Motivate.Trust. It looked good for a bit from SMG, but it just falls flat once more, and they're just not getting the max value from this Ricky. Again, itemization has stalled out. Farm is not flowing for the 2 cores, whereas for Motivate.Trust, we really are taking over with Jackie. Onto the high ground, no Wukongs for the defense, no Finger. Roar gonna be up soon, but Roar alone's not gonna be enough to stop that push.
Radiant's middle barracks
So
are
let me
under
ask you,
attack.
what's better than a quickening charm on Ursa?
Radiant's
What's
middle
better?
barracks are under
Yes.
attack.
The spell person?
No, well that is for tier 4, but he's got the Titan Slither right now, John. So why not just amplify the status resist instead?
Radiant's
Until the
middle
tier
barracks
4
has
items where you get a spell prism.
Yeah.
Why the hell
it's
not?
just- it's beautiful. They still get more ult. Ooh.
Nice BKB,
Sleeping dart.
Masteros. No, Raw's going to come out. They want to fight, but MTG might turn. They are a bit low in terms of HP and mana, but they still have the chance to go. They are Fearless. Right into the background on Mushi. The hook shot onto Arfu. Jackie, he caught KP on the Beastmaster, and it looks like KP's going to try and run. He might just make it out. Mid-1, he'll get the Wukong's command defensively out. Back in onto the Oracle Leona with the Ghost Scepter. It's going to be fine, and now Jackie's right back in. Onto Arfu. Never mind that. Let's go on to Nia. He'll try to blink struck the backwards, but no, the false promise. Leona X. The man just won't die. He keeps bringing them back in. Mid-1, he'll try onto the Ursa with the bashes out, but they've lost KP. Now Mid-1 needs to try and run away. Fearless, he's going to get brought down from the Yules. Is he going to be able to survive? Not quite. They'll get the storm. Now Nia back in on the clockwork Q. Should drop here as Mid-1. He'll keep moving forward, trying to find more. Nia now will find Q finally, but the hook shot is there. The Spirit Vessel, Nia. Oh. Is he gonna die? No, 3 HP. 3 HP the Ricky survives on.
Killing spree.
Back to Mid-1. He'll kill off Leona X. The Jackie's not done. He kills off Arfu. Mushi's around though. The enrage is there. How do you kill off an Ursa if you can't stun him permanently? Well, maybe they can. Mid-1. He's gonna try. But the Lion Mushi about to die. There's no damage output. Jackie, the bashes Mid-1. The man fight. Jackie's gonna try. But no, the slipping dance in. Nia will put him to sleep.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
What a great team fight that was. Very extended. It ends up being a 3-for-4 trade. They did get the melee barracks to the mid lane. But I'd say SMG should be okay with that, considering the golden XP change they got.
Okay, it's a big win for SMG. Motivate.Trust kind of overstaying their welcome. I mean, it looked like they just came back for Monsters really after the war. You might have been better off just letting Monsters die, but it is what it is. Gives SMG some breathing room. They're going to be able to get some more farm up. The Manta's finally done on Nea, so he has a way of purging off some of that dust. Some of the silence is coming through. And that's going to put a dent in Motivate.Trust's control here as they're going to be able to at least get out of that root in silence. Have to be a bit cautious about that. There is the Abyssal now done here on mid one as well. So he's got his own way of stunning out. And I think for the side of Motivate.Trust, they might just maybe wait out the next rush. It's only half a minute away. You do have good control here from SMG bumping up in that jungle, and they are smoked up again.
They make this one work. Q gonna break the smoke in the tree line, mid one. Primal's bringing through, does find Fearless, but oh, what a dodge on the bound of strike, and now the silence is there. Still, false promise out onto Q, hook shot onto Nia. Q might just sacrifice himself to let his team get out, and it looks like that might just be the plan. Mid one is still trying to find another target, and it looks like he has found Leona, and will eventually find the Oracle to take him out.
Dire's bottom tower
Nice double kill there for SMG.
Dire structures are fortified.
As long as Jackie's down, they know they can get it done. Game is slowly but surely evening back out, at least in terms of net worth.
Yeah, they're really finding the openings on SMG. MTG just sticking their heads out for a bit and gets chopped down. Have to really still remember that SMG's got a lot of good control. The supports by themselves do not have that damage output. Now you have to deal with the Beastmaster Axe. KP finally has it up. So this is where it can be ridiculous. If KP's allowed to live, his damage output is going to be a bit too much to handle. You don't have the best sustaining supports here from the side of Motivate.Trust. You have the Oracle, but you don't have anything like a Guardian Boots up, a mech up, nothing to help you burst regen back up outside the Oracle spells. So it can be a bit dicey. Leona X again has to work himself perfectly in these engagements. And the rush is up, so SMG go right in. That has a free Ags blessing as well. Don't want to give this one away if you're MG Trust.
They do not. They're making their way over, but Arfu is around blocking the way. They can hook shot in to try and steal, but instead they'll start to Arfu. The Aeon Disc will save still. Mid one gonna jump in with the Wukong's. Hook shot was not there in time from Q. They need to run right now. That Wukong's command is gonna do way too much damage. They are gonna lose Masseros. You've got Hookshot down, so you could try to rush the Roshan, but he does have an axe. So he can refresh and try to steal. And Q, he might give it a shot. Roshan is getting quite low. He does need to refresh, and it's too late. He's gonna miss out. SMG, they got what they came for. They'll be able to relax now, knowing they have the Aegis. They have the Ags upgrade on Nia. And where's the cheese at, John? Mid one's got it.
Regeneration.
Yeah, it's scary now. Nea with a free Ags doesn't even need to spend 4,200.
Over here.
Q, right in, but the ball blocked it. KP gonna be silenced up, but a boundless strike to lock them both in. Now the head's up Fearless. He's gonna drop a Jackie. He's in. He's gonna try and fight onto mid one. Can he get through the HP pool of the Monkey King? It looks like he just may, as the Abyssal Blade was there, but mid one is still trying. The false promise is gonna fly out Leona, trying to heal him up, but here comes Nia into the back line. Leona trying to survive. They will get Leona down. Q will drop. Jackie will go through the false promise, and it is not looking good now. For Motivate.Trust, it looks like SMG might be able to take this to the high ground.
I mean, and Motivate.Trust force a fight into Aegis Cheese. They don't respect the Ags on Ricky, and they just got ripped to shreds. I'm not sure why they really forced the issue there. As SMG just manages to clean up. They do have buyback on Jackie. They've bought buybacks on their supports as well. The gem is going to be picked up by Mushi's courier, so you're not even going to be able to snipe that away. They can push real fast. KP just clears out these waves like it's butter. And the side of Motivate.Trust, they're going to have to pull something amazing in the high ground. They don't necessarily have the best AoE control to stop it. And mid one still has the Wukongs to play with here.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Level 27 on that Monkey King. Mid one, very confident. Oh, Fearless, he's got the Vortex off, but it's not going to be enough damage output.
Thanks.
There's your Daedalus out now on the Monkey King as well, so the damage has gone up substantially in that Wukong's command.
Dire's middle barracks are
With
under
the
attack.
Aghanim Scepter statues, you've got to be very careful.
Dire's middle barracks.
One rack's down. Onto the top lane they go.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Jackie's up in 20. He does not want to commit the buyback yet. He wants to hold
Dire's
out.
top tower has
We
fallen.
saw this last game, don't forget, John. They did make a comeback from 2 racks down.
Dire's
The
top barracks has fallen.
SMG understand how careful they have to be around this team.
Dire's
Mid one, gonna get
barracks
zipped
has
on
fallen.
Fearless. Oh, he got bashed up. The Abyssal Blade there through the BKB. The Aegis still not
Go
down.
ahead.
They finally
Let the
get
fun
it.
begin.
Q is in danger. Vingar, the heel's out. Leona will save the day now. The Abyssal Arm from Jackie onto mid one. He's dropping low. The back is there. They take him out. He's got no buyback again. Nia now, he goes down. He'll have buyback on the Ricky though. Mushi, zipped on perfectly, but they can't cancel the TP. Instead, towards the right side, they found Arthur the Brewmaster. They might be able to get him instead. And here we go again, John. A very similar scenario to last game.
I'll never touch the stuff.
On the brighter side, this time Arthur and Nia do have buybacks.
Yeah, they're not going to be completely screwed out here. They're going to have themselves up and running for the defense. There is notable damage. Does get denied after KP. Very nice move there. And side of Motivate.Trust now, they're going to have to, well, maximize this moment. No Monkey King is big. They are in a very risky spot still. You don't want to be caught out with no buyback on your side. Jackie is about 600 gold off. So Jackie has to be a bit careful, but we need to really clear out the racks and even out the map control.
That they do, and they're going to try now. KP, he'll be around with the axes to really just be a real nuisance here on the Beastmaster. It's quite nice to have the axe up to be able to defend this high ground if you're KP. Of course, he does have to be a little bit cautious because Fearless could zip in at any moment, and they do. They've got the Beastmaster, KP's gone. He has buyback, but with that death, Arthur, he fought back to try and save the Beastmaster. MTG.
Do it with
They'll need
flair.
it back now. Mid one is up in 5 seconds. SMG, there was a lot of damage done on that tier 3, but they're happily going to hold.
Straight.
Yeah, and they've got some really good items flying through. You've got a BKB up on Nea, and that should mean that it's harder to pin down this Ricky. Full duration here as well. So if you were trying to rip through the back lines and try to focus down to squish your cores, the Ricky's look a lot harder to handle. SMG though, do sacrifice the buyback on Nea for that, but looks like it's just time for SMG to go back to farming up, build up, try to save for some of that buyback. They do find a Spell Prism on Motivate.Trust, by the way, so there it is. And it is on Masaros for now, though.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Jackie's going to take the ninja gear instead. Fair enough. I mean, that's kind of nice, though, because you can sneak in from the backside and get rid of that lion and fill in the Brewmaster. I did guarantee, though, that Spell Prism would come out.
Zap.
Like my credit, thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
Gonna avoid the sleeping dart. Mid one.
Wish
We'll be able to hold him down. It's very hard with the Aghanim Shard on Jackie to really lock him down long enough. He never really has to commit the full enrage. You can just Earth Shock and you just can't do anything.
Yeah, it's enough to stall out for Jackie to, you know, live through some of that initial damage and control. He is saving up now for that Swift Blink, so you know, he's gonna get some more agi to play with, more right-click damage, more attack speed. Really nice utility when you blink in as well. The Satanic's the big spike that I think Jackie absolutely needs. He needs a way to heal himself out outside of the Oracle, because he lives long enough that he can turn around and he just needs some lifesteal. So do smoke up on MTG, gonna try to make something happen. Roche still a long way off, but maybe if they get a pick off here, they can just start to go back into the high ground.
Both teams are being very cautious. SMG, they'll just try to push out the top lane and force the rotation back, as mid one now is going to hide as a tree on top of a tree. Himself for the initiation. MTG still smoking up here, gonna have his smoke broken. Sees Arthur, he's gonna go for the hook shot in. Nobody initiated yet. They're waiting for both teams to show themselves. So Arthur, he can prime the split of Fearless. He's got the AoE vortex now, catching the backside onto Mushi, but the Ghost Scepter gonna save the day as mid one. He popped the Wukong's command, and he's gonna wear off for Jackie. He does kill off Mushi onto mid one now. Mid one trying to fight with Nia. They might have the Ursa, but the vortex is in again. Fearless just gonna drag them right back into the false promise. Keeping the Ursa alive, but for how long can mid one? He's got so much damage out. They are going to kill him before the Ursa goes down. Onto Nia now, Q will lock him down with a double hook shot out. And Leona, Arthur, Mushi, he does not want to die like this. The Shiver's Guard barely not going to reach Arthur. Pop the Drunken Brawler, just trying to run while Masaros will continue the chase down with the Yule Scepter out. And the Fortune's End. Mid one has buyback if he wants to commit it, and so does KB. But Arfu, are they actually going to time T-Force? Yeah, they are. Hookshot it again now. The buybacks come out, but they've already gotten the kill. Mid one's going to try and punish now with the double boundless strike and the raw to fly out onto Masaros. And they may have gone way too far. Q, he has no hookshot to relieve himself of this scenario, and he's also going to die.
Double damage.
They force the buybacks out of mid one and KB, but it does cost 2 lives of their own.
I think you're happy. Like, MTG still holding on to buybacks on those 2 heroes that died. They can just come back in, take the diebacks first, and then go back out. This is a really risky spot for SMG. Their options are limited. Roche is still 2 minutes away, so they can't even play for that objective. And you have to be careful.
Okay, B.
Oh boy.
He just fought back. Oh no. He's got him.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
That's 2 minutes without the Beastmaster now. MTG might have their opening. Roshan's not going to be up for another minute 40, so they're not going to be able to go back to that.
Radiant
What do you
are
do here? Do you
scanning
just
for
farm
enemies.
up and maybe get the Swift Blink up on Jackie?
You could. I mean, you have nothing else to play for. You have to wait for the respawn on your 2 heroes, unless someone missteps. Like, say if they spot mid one, chop the right tree. That's only one way to do it.
Oh, Fearless, he's found it. He tries to get the tree chop. He doesn't quite get there. But he does force the BKB. Jackie, he's in with the bash out, and now the Abyssal Blade. They've got the Monkey King mid one. He's going to eat the cheese with the Fury Swipe. It's so much damage. They get him down. Onto Nia now. Nia's going to try and fight back with the Sleeping Dart. Turning onto the storm with the false promise from Leona. He's going to save the day. Oh, mid one's down for 2 minutes to boot. There's going to be no big push out from MTG quite yet. They have creeps in their base.
Let the fun begin.
But this is going to give them plenty of more time to just keep farming up.
Visibility.
Jackie, he has a choice now. Satanic or Swift Blink. Both of them are quite affordable for him very soon. Seems like
I'd say
he's
Satanic.
dead set on the Swift Blink, but yeah, I kind of agree with you on that, John.
Like lifesteal. You see how long Jackie lives. If he just has lifesteal, he is literally unkillable. Like, they throw everything out on him. Because of Enrage, it lasts so much shorter. And he just needs a couple of hits, he's back to full HP. So I think Satanic is the smart play, but he is buying out Swiftblink. So I think he wants to be more slot efficient. He's gonna have to take something out if he wants that. And Fearless.
Gets Fearless, I did not spot that one out. My apologies. Nia setting up a nice kill for the team,
Radiant's
and
middle
with
barracks are
Fearless
under
gone, you
attack.
can't really push in.
Risky.
Dire's
They
bottom
could go for the
tower
road.
is under
Jackie's
attack.
in. So that's Refresh and Ag's blessing along with Cheese and Aegis. This is where it gets really dicey. SMG has to run up to contest this, but again, against an Ursa, Roche does not last long.
No, it's
Roshan
not.
is full to
He's
nine.
taken. Aghanim Scepter. Looks like he might just take it for himself. Fair enough.
Dire's courier has been killed.
I love the fact
Dire's
that
middle tower is
everything
under
to do with
attack.
Ursa in regards to Aghanim is about Enrage. So it's like how the cooldown's 18 seconds now, and you can just pop it whenever you feel like it.
Yeah.
How nice is that?
Beautiful. It's lovely. You have that, you have the Earthshock, still doing ridiculous stuff with, and you got your PKB. It's wild for Jackie right now. Very hard to pin down. SMG, for their part right now, Mike, they've ridden through that moment where buybacks were down. They have 4 minutes to wait though for those buybacks to refresh, and most of their heroes. Afu only has a minute to wait for his buyback, but you kind of have to work to that point for SMG. MG Trust with the Aegis Cheese, they feel a lot safer. They could make a big fight, and Fearless asking for, okay, crash. All right. I thought you meant they should just clash now. I was like, all right, that's like such a C-pub thing to say, just clashes for. But yeah, no, it's a crash. All right.
Fearless isn't even alive right now, John. I'm not sure why he'd be asking for a clash.
Yeah, because he could micro Jackie. See, he could play the Ursa. That's what he wants.
True. Very true. Wants to know what it feels like to be all farmed up and fuzzy like a bear. Jackie. So, do you go for the Satanic now? I mean, obviously after the Aegis does expire, surely it's either Divine Rapier or just a straight Satanic here for the Ursa.
Yeah, I'd say no damage issues. Satanic should still be the play. Jackie keeps it queued up. And they do like that. Like, again, just some lifesteal on hand is going to make the difference. SMG, they're positioned aggressively. They could be caught out here.
Rock it on!
Gonna smoke up on the Brewmaster now. Little arcane rune being found out now by
They'll
Nia.
never see this coming.
The spell prism, 6.9 seconds on the cooldown for the sleeping dart. Very nice. Tricks
Nice
in the trade is at a 4.6 second cooldown. Very good.
Very balanced
Yep.
with that spell prism here on Nia. He's the one wanting to play with that. We're not seeing that out from Jackie. Of course, he's playing smarter with move speed on Ninja Gear, just very speedy, and he does manage to take away the boots. So, you know, he's slightly slower. He's gonna have to always play with a Swift Blink to get himself in the right spot, at least while the Aegis is up. But the side of SMG, again, they're just keeping all the waves shoved in. They've got a Beastmaster, they've got a Monkey King, they can jump around, keep the waves in, and prevent Motivate.Trust from getting too far out from the base. They get the ads up on Afu, that is massive. He's got the charges on Primal Split, so it's harder to kill off that Brewmaster if you don't get the control initially, and that does mean you might get controlled up if you're not careful there from all of the stuns and so the cyclones coming through from the Brewlings. Can be a bit dicey as SMG are getting a bit of a second power spike with this itemization now.
Certainly can be, John. Tier 2 gonna drop, and now even the nullifier out from Nia. Certainly gonna help out the heroes of Motivate.Trust. Especially while you've got that damn Oracle around. He's been having a very rough time with Leona X this game. Still, high ground is the objective for SMG. They do not have a Roshan to go to, so they might just wait it out and farm up a bit more. Of course, Motivate has a 7k net worth advantage. So it could be dangerous, but Jackie gonna run in. Smoke does end up breaking. He won't turn around fast enough. Arthur could initiate and does the side too, but the enrage was there. Of course, with the Aghanim Scepter, there's no real risk in just throwing out the enrage like that because the cooldown's so low. You're always gonna have it.
Yeah, there are no worries, and they do smoke up here. Motivate.Trust did clear out the Hawks. They could find an angle.
Incoming!
Oh, mid one, he got they got the tree, the Vortex is down. Mid one's dead without buyback again. The rocket flare giving the vision out from Q. Now KP's gonna be chased. Masaros, he will cancel off the TP. That'll be KP gone. Mid lane, Q trying to fight up against Arfu. He will Primal Split, but he's stuck in the cogs with nowhere to go. Fearless even just leaves it.
Homing in!
He just lets the supports take care of it. Arfu, Fortune's End gonna land on the Storm Panda. There's the real one, Jackie, a big scary bear chasing him down. That is Arfu gone. Another Primal Split just in the nick of time. And he even goes back for the bounty. He'll deny it off. Q gonna get stunned up, but that'll be it. Arfu barely gets his way out. Motivate.Trust though, they have 3 heroes down without buyback, John. And I can almost assure you that they're going high ground again.
Yeah, they refreshed on Masaros, Exorcism back up. They're going to line up for that shove. And probably just going to rush tier 4, swing the bots at Arax, but I think they want to go for the juggler. So we'll see the punishments out. I mean, it's still 30 seconds until these big units are back. They're just so strong inside of MT.Trust.
Yeah, I mean, look how many Ghost Masaros has out right now. That glyph going to wear out, and Jackie's in. He's found Arfu, and Arfu is eventually going to die. Fearless, he does get him. Jackie the one to pick up the kill. Don't tell me they get another comeback like this. 2 racks is down. Motivate.Trust really want to win in fashion, it seems, as the hook shot is in. On Samushi, they've got the lion. Mid one's back up. He can jump in and fight, but the hook shot is there. Jackie get a man fight the Wukong's command. Mid one trying his best, but Jackie, he's not afraid with the false promise and the ace. And now Fearless comes back. That's it. GG has to be called. They can't defend poorly. They're going to try, but Jackie is still alive. The Aegis wears off, and there's the GG call. MTG. How do they keep doing it, John? Over and over again. 2 racks is down, and it's like it's like a fire just gets lit underneath their asses and suddenly they can just play better.
Yeah,